Hey y'all, this is Rachel from Cypress Textiles, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make plain Hexie A from the Vibrant Vintage Crochet Along of 2022. So for this sample, I'm going to be using Shapeuse Metropolis and a size 2.5 millimeter hook, and we're going to start with a slip knot and chain 3. All right, and then slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the hook to make a ring. You can also do a magic ring if you prefer, or you can chain more as well if you prefer. So into the center, I'm going to make a beginning 2DC cluster. So what that consists of is a beginning double crochet and then a regular double crochet, and those together is what's going to make the first 2DC cluster of our round. So I'm just going to go straight into the center with a single crochet, and just make your single crochet without chaining up, and then chain 1. And that is the beginning double crochet. And then just go ahead and make a regular double crochet. All right. And those two together is what's going to form the first 2DC cluster of the round. So when we join, we're going to join into the top of this regular double crochet and just ignore this first part. And we're just going to treat this like if it was a regular cluster. So now chain 2, and then we're going to make a normal 2 double crochet cluster. So yarn over, insert your hook into the center, pull up a loop, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, and go ahead and repeat that. Yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, and now we've got 3 loops on the hook, and now draw the yarn through all 3 loops to close the cluster. And now you've got a 2 double crochet cluster, and our repeat here is going to be chain 2, 2 double crochet cluster, and we're going to do that 4 more times so that you've got a total of 6 of these 2 DC clusters in your center. All right, so now I have 4 more repeats of the 2DC cluster, chain 2 2DC cluster. So now I've got to make 1 more chain 2 in order to have 6 clusters and 6 chain spaces. So right now I've only got 5 chain spaces, so I need to make 1 more chain 2, and then we're going to join. And here I'll take the opportunity to show you how I join a cluster in the round. So this is our first cluster. It's our beginning 2DC cluster. So I'm going to take the loops of the cluster here, and it's really for this one, it's the loops of this first DC. So I'm just going to put my hook through those 2 top loops of the first double crochet, and then I'm going to yarn over and grab that loop, and I'm actually also trapping this tail because I'm going to work over it to hide it, and you can do that as well if you don't want to have as many ends to weave when you're finished. So let me go ahead and get that there, put it through, and now that's our slip stitch there, and that's how I close the round for a cluster. All right, so now we're going to jump to our next round. So the first thing we're going to do is to end up in the middle of this chain space, we're going to slip stitch into the first chain. So instead of working straight into the chain space with our slip stitch, I'm going to go into the chain itself. So I do that by going into, you can see these 3 loops of the chain right here, this loop, this leading loop here, and then the bottom loop. So I'm going to go through the top 2 and leave that bottom loop out of it. So that way you don't get a giant hole. If you only go through the top part here, you get this big hole. So you're going to want to go through the top 2 parts of the chain. So go ahead and make a slip stitch there and make sure that it's not too tight because you need to end up in the middle of the chain space. All right, so for the next round, I'm going to make a beginning double crochet into this chain space. So I'll start with a single single crochet, and chain 1. And that's the first double crochet of the round. And then chain 1 for the corner. Okay, so beginning double crochet, single crochet, chain 1, and then chain 1 for your corner. All right, so now we're gonna make 2 more double crochet in the same chain space. And now I'm ready to go skip to the next corner chain space. So I'm working over this tail the whole time, and I'm just kind of holding it at the back, and you can see it's getting worked into over these stitches. So I'm holding it at the back so you can't see it kind of peeking over. All right, so in this next corner chain space, you need to make 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you're actually going to do that in all of the remaining chain spaces until you get back to the beginning. All right, and then we'll finish up the round. So there's how each corner is going to look. 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. And you're going to do that all the way around in the next 4 chain spaces as well. Okay, so now I have all 6 corners nearly complete. I just have to finish this very first corner. As you can see, it just has the beginning DC and the corner space and 2 DC there. So we need to finish that corner by adding 1 more DC at the start. And that's why we made this slip stitch in the beginning, so that we could kind of have a little space here to make that double crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and make that double crochet. And now I'm ready to join the round, and here's where I want to explain a little bit. I'll just do this for this first motif, but I'm going to explain about the beginning DC and how it ends up kind of looking more like a regular double crochet. So when you join to this beginning DC, you join in the top chain space or chain of the beginning DC here, and you leave this corner alone by itself. And then, so what we're going to do is insert the hook into this kind of front loop, and it's basically the same thing as whenever we did the slip stitch with the other chain. So you're working under these top 2 pieces of this chain. So go ahead and insert your hook. If you only grab this outer part, you're going to end up with a hole. So make sure you get that second part there, and then make your slip stitch to join. Now be sure that you don't make this slip stitch really tight, because it needs to float over the top, and you can see how it looks like how the other stitches have the top V. The slip stitch makes that top V. So you need to make sure that it's not super tight, or else it won't look like a regular stitch. So the anatomy of the beginning double crochet, I'm going to elongate this loop and pull my hook out so I can show you. So the anatomy of the beginning double crochet is the single crochet looks like this piece of the regular double crochet. The chain looks like this piece right here, how it's coming up right there. It looks like that part. And the closing slip stitch, when you close the round, it looks like the V's on the top. So with these 3 elements, they come together to make something that looks like a double crochet. And you can use a chain 3, you can use a standing double crochet, whatever you prefer for this beginning stitch. It's just how I make the first stitch. And then there is another piece to this puzzle, and that is, in my patterns, it's more often than not, unless you're instructed, I have you work into the next space or stitch for the next round. So that makes this slip stitch kind of be able to stay where it is and act as the top of the stitch. So you can see if you work into the same stitch, you're kind of disrupting the fact that see how it lifts now? So that's why I always have you work into the next space or stitch to start the next round. So we're going to be working into this next chain space to start round 3. So I'm going to jump into there with a beginning double crochet, so single, and now you can see the slip stitch that we made just lies perfectly over that stitch, and it looks pretty much just like a regular double crochet. So single crochet, chain 1, and again chain 1 for the corner, and now just make 1 double crochet in the same chain space. And okay, so now we've got beginning double crochet, chain 1 for the corner, double crochet in the chain space. And now we're going to make 1 double crochet in each stitch across until we get to our next corner. All right, so I'm going to make 4 double crochet, and then when I get to this corner, I will make double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And that is going to be my repeat. All right, now I'm at the chain space, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Okay, and that's my repeat. So I'm going to continue that all the way around until I'm back to the beginning. Okay, so I'm at the beginning now, and here's kind of what our hexagon is starting to look like. And our next couple of rounds are just like that last round that we did. So I'm going to show you how to join, and then I'll just briefly explain how I did the next couple of rounds, and then I will go ahead and complete them. So first, I'm going to join the round with a slip stitch in the beginning double crochet. And now I'm ready to start the next round with a beginning double crochet here and chain 1 for the corner, and then 1 double crochet in the same chain space. And then I'm just going to, I have a little chain there, so I'll frog that before I come back, but you'll have 6 double crochet, 1 in each of these 60C till you get to this next corner where you will do double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So I will be right back and show you that. All right, so here is round 4 completed, and I'm just about to start round 5. So for round 5, we're gonna do something a little bit different, and I'm gonna start it the same way with a beginning double crochet. So single crochet, chain 1, and then chain 1 for the corner space. And then I will work 1 double crochet into the same chain space. All right, so I've got the corner just like we did on the previous row. And now I'm gonna work, now I'm gonna work 4 double crochet. So you see you have 8 double crochet here. I'm gonna work the first 4 only, 1, 2, 3, 4, with double crochet in each stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so now I'm going to make a chain. So chain 1, and then work your next 4 double crochet. Okay, I put the chain in the middle so that my final stitch count can be correct. So on this 5th round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have to make sure you put 1 chain in the center. Okay, now I'm going to make my corner, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and now I'm set up for my repeat. 4 double crochet, chain 1, 4 double crochet, make my corner, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. All right, so I'm going to go all the way around until I'm back at the beginning. All right, so round 5 is now complete, and I've joined into the beginning double crochet. And now for this round, I have 12 chain spaces because I have 1 in the corner and also 1 at the middle of the side for each of the 6 sides. So for round 6, I'm just going to make a single crochet in every space and stitch around, and even in the corner. So even in the corner, I'm just going to make 1 single crochet. And I know it's going to feel weird putting just 1 single crochet in the corner, but there's a reason behind that, and I'll kind of tell you it on the next round. So for this round, just put 1 single crochet in every stitch and in every chain space, even in this center one right here. Okay, so I've made a single crochet in every stitch around, and you will see the edges have a slight curl, but that's all going to be resolved on the next round. And I do need to join, so I'm going to go ahead and join into this single crochet, the very first single crochet with the slip stitch. All right, so now you can see my slip stitch is fairly loose enough to go over the single crochet there. And then for our next round, we're going to start in the next stitch. So we're not really in the corner anymore because we've joined into the stitch that's in that corner. So for our next stitch, we're going to start in this stitch right here, which is the next stitch, with a single crochet. Just go straight into it. All right. And now we'll work a single crochet in every stitch until we get to this next corner. So pay attention because you don't have 3 single crochet here to kind of get your attention. So when you get to this corner stitch, that's when you're going to make 3 single crochet in it. All right, so I'm going to work across with single crochet in every stitch. And then once I get to that corner stitch, and if I would have worked 3 single crochet in the previous round, if I work, I'll explain it this way. If you're making a square, you can put 3 single crochet in the corner, and that's going to make your right angle. Okay, you're going to have a single crochet standing tall, 1 going out into the corner, and 1 going out to the side, right? And that's going to make your 90-degree corner for a square. That's fine. So this angle is much larger than 90 degrees. So if I keep putting 3 single crochet into the corner, I'm going to end up with these really pointy corners because it's going to start lending itself to a 90-degree angle when we have a much more obtuse angle here. You do the math and tell me what it is. I don't know what it is, 72 or something, I'm not sure. But in this corner, now I'm going to put 3 single crochet. So I have 1, and I'm going to put 2 more, and that is also going to let my edges lay flat and not curl up. So with the 3 single crochet here, it's offset by just having 1 on the previous round, so it doesn't get too pointy. Also, when we make our join, we're going to have another round with 3 single crochet in the corner. So I'm already going to have 2 rounds of it. So you really just need this second to last round to have 1. That way you don't start ending up with these pointy corners. And I'm just going to keep working around single crochet in every stitch except for that corner single where I'm going to put 3 single crochet. And when I'm back to the beginning, I will show you what it looks like. Okay, here is the motif, and you see the corners are just pointy enough to make it into a nice hexagon. And I'm at the beginning here, so I do need to place 3 single crochet into my corner stitch. And you can see this is the single crochet that I slip stitch into from the previous round. So I have no need to kind of join into that slip stitch because it's not like it's the beginning double crochet or anything where this top part is acting as the top of the stitch. So what I do when I join a single crochet is I just work straight into it and just work around the slip stitch. So just insert your hook straight into the single crochet and you'll kind of feel the difference there. It's going to be the difference between going up here to the slip stitch and going into the single crochet, just ignoring the slip stitch, like if you were going to work into that single. So now we're going to make our 3 single crochet. This is our final corner. And now you can join into this first single crochet. And now I'm going to break the yarn and go ahead and pull it through. And I'm going to show you how I weave the tail, and I'm only going to do this for this motif, kind of like how I described the beginning double crochet for this motif. So when I pulled my yarn through, I pulled my slip stitch too tight. Okay, so that way you can all watch this video and kind of get the tips and tricks for weaving ends and everything. And then for the other videos, I just will omit that part. All right, so to weave the tail, instead of weaving it at the end, here's how I weave the tail on most of my works. So I've got my slip stitch there, I've got my yarn pulled through, and I'm gonna insert my hook back to front through the both loops of this next stitch. So back to front through both loops of the stitch to the left of the joining stitch. And just grab my yarn and pull it through to the back. Okay, so now my slip stitch can just lay there over top. And now I'm going to insert my hook back to front through the back loop only of the stitch to the right of the joining stitch. Okay, so back loop only, and then grab the yarn and pull it through again to the back. All right, so now my yarn kind of follows the natural path of this slip stitch. And when we work our next round, which will be when we join, you can just work over this and you won't even notice it. And now I'm just going to continue with that same maneuver of inserting my hook back to front through the back loop only of the next stitch to the right. Of course, if you're a lefty, you'll have to reverse all of this. So back loop only, and grab the tail, pull it to the back. And next stitch, back loop only, grab the tail, pull it to the back. And just keep going until your tail is sufficiently woven in, or until it's completely woven in. I've never had a tail come loose working it this way, and it's just a really easy way to weave your ends as you go, instead of having to weave them all at once at the end. All right, and that is plain Hexie A from the 2022 Vibrant Vintage Crochet Along, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.